Hello. Right, I think we've got more people online than we've got in the room, so I'm talking to everyone that's tuned in online as well. I'm Stephen Howell. I work for a company called Howden. We do insurance. We insure anyone involved in the music industry. So I'm going to run through quickly over the next sort of 10 minutes or so what we do, how we protect you if something goes wrong, and who we are basically. So here we go. So who are we? Howden are an insurance broker. For those people who don't know what insurance broking is we sit in between people who work in the music industry and the insurance companies. Because music insurance isn't something you can Google and buy online. You need a broker to obtain the cover. We provide risk advice. We source the suitable policies and we negotiate claims if something goes wrong. And today I'm going to talk about things going wrong because that's what insurance is for, is to help you when things go wrong. But the caveat is we these are the worst examples, so don't worry, it doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen. And the thing is with insurance is you don't know when it's going to happen, which is why you all need insurance. Um, and we work across the world globally, so it doesn't matter where you are and what you do, we can help. So things we insure: music festivals, concerts, equipment, studios, freelancers. There's obviously a sound engineer, but any type of freelancer in the music industry we can look after. Touring, backline, bands, whatever you need for touring, making videos, video equipment, production companies, and people. Um, that's Dave Grohl breaking his leg, and I'll come on to a bit of that later on. So first up, equipment. Equipment claims are probably the easiest thing for people to get their heads around if you don't understand insurance. It's about things going missing, and MacBooks are the things that go missing most often out of any other type of equipment. And every single band and artist has a MacBook or someone that's got a MacBook working with them, and they still get stolen, and they also get broken when get dropped or drinks get dropped on them. Equipment getting broken. Happens, and certainly for younger bands, younger artists who haven't got backups, it's really, really important that if something gets broken, it gets replaced, and replaced quickly, and our policy will do that for you. And something that people forget about, but it's just as important, is equipment that you don't own. Obviously, you don't have to be Keith Richards to get kit given to you. Gibson and Fender and other manufacturers do give out kit to bands when they tour. And just because you haven't paid for it doesn't mean you're not responsible for it if it gets broken. And we have had examples where bands have had kit on loan deals that gets damaged. You'll have to pay for it to be repaired or replaced. So if you're doing collaboration deals, let us know. We can add that into your cover. Public liability is something that everyone should have, but most people don't understand. So I'm going to give a quick example as to what it means. Anyone guess what happened in this incident? Quite. The drummer threw his drumsticks into the crowd at the end of the show, and rather than catching the drumsticks in her hand, a lady caught them with her teeth, and they aren't her teeth, but it's obviously an image of someone's broken teeth. It did break her two front teeth. She sued the band because you can, and her dental fee was £3,000. She sued the band. The lawyers got involved. They negotiated for months. It got settled at £40,000. All of that was paid for by the public liability insurance that the band had. It was a mistake. It was an error. He didn't do it on purpose. He didn't stab the lady in the face with a drumstick. He was just throwing it into the crowd, and it took her teeth out. And he'd been doing that for the best part of 20 years. At the end of shows, never hurt anyone. So there was no reason to know that that was going to happen. Public liability is all about negligence causing people injury. It also covers damage to third-party property, but only if it's done unintentionally. So here we go. They're smashing up a hotel room. That wouldn't be covered because they're doing it on purpose. However, if we didn't know that happened and we get a call to say, we've accidentally broken a mirror in a hotel room, and we're being sued for it, that would be your public liability responding. If they did it on purpose, it's not covered. Steve Aoki. Anyone know Steve Aoki? Anyone seen him live? If you saw him live a few years ago at a festival, you might have seen him jumping out of his DJ booth into a rubber dinghy. He used to do it quite regularly, and it was fun, up to the point in which he broke someone's neck, and they sued him for $10.7 million. Now, obviously, he didn't intend to break her neck, but he did. She was standing under the dinghy, couldn't get out in time, and she sued him. He doesn't do that anymore. He now throws cake into the crowd. There he is, bit less dangerous and fun, I guess. Travel insurance. If you leave the UK for work purposes, and even if you're not getting paid, underwriters would class it as working abroad. You need travel insurance in place. If you get ill, especially in America, the medical bills are going to be expensive. Travel policy will pick up those medical costs for everyone that's covered. It also covers you if you get something stolen that's personal, like a luggage or wallet, something like that. So our advice is, as soon as you get shows abroad, talk to us. We'll get insurance policy in place. I mentioned him earlier, Dave Grohl. When I first started doing this talk, he was the nicest man in rock. Then he was in the news for having children outside of marriage, and he's now just a normal rock star, I guess. Anyway, cancellation insurance, contingency insurance, non-appearance insurance, it's all the same thing. What it does, it's a financial protection that covers your fee if you can't play. Obviously, he carried on playing for a bit, but he also did cancel loads of shows on that tour. I mean, it was all in the press. This was a picture from the newspaper, so we can talk about it. But the shows that they did cancel were insured. He injured himself. It's an insured event, and therefore the shows got cancelled. We paid out the insurance policy to cover all the fees that he would have got if he had played the shows. And then by paying out the fees, they could then pay the promoters and the managers and all the session musicians and the touring crew, and everyone got paid as if the show had happened, which is obviously a good result. So non-appearance insurance is only needed if you're touring and you're earning fees, and you're earning fees such that if you don't do the show, something it's going to be an issue. You can't afford to not have that income coming in. So it's a financial protection. So not everyone buys it, but when fees get to the point where you need that money, it's the time to start buying it. The other thing to do with touring is weather, and if you're doing shows outside, then the weather can affect them. Stagecoach happened just last week in the US, and they had to evacuate the main area because of high winds, and so this is the screens being dropped, and then the guests being evacuated, and that was a postponement. So some of the artists didn't perform. If you were one of those artists, you might not got paid, and therefore you'd claim on your policy. Boardmasters, the other picture over there, if anyone's been to Boardmasters Festival, it's on the top of a hill in Newquay. As you can see there, right by the sea. There is no protection at all from wind or rain when it comes in. And this, I think it's been cancelled 3 times now, and I think that was 2019, where it had 60-mile-an-hour gale force 10 gusts of wind coming through. You can't run an event in those winds. Now, if you're an artist, our recommendation is, if you can, when you're booking shows that are outdoors, try and make sure there's a ready, willing, and able clause in that contract. And what that means is, if you turn up at that festival and you're ready, willing, and able to perform, but the festival has to be pulled because of bad weather, you'll still get paid. And so it's quite an important clause to have in your contract. And if you haven't got that in your contract, then you definitely need insurance, because if you turn up ready, willing, and able to perform, you've probably paid for your travel, you paid for your accommodation, you paid for all your production, but the show gets pulled and you don't get your fee, you've still got to find the money to cover those costs. So your insurance will pick it up if you haven't got protection in your contract. If none of this makes sense, if this doesn't make sense to you, then don't worry. The thing is, if just remember, talk to us when you start booking shows of these sort of size, and we can help. Unfortunately, terrorism is something that didn't used to affect music, but does now, has now. Manchester, the Bataclan in Paris are two obviously big events that did affect tours and shows, not just the individual shows that they've targeted, but shows around them in the cities for the rest of those weekends and dates around when those happened. And if the show gets cancelled because of it, we can insure your fee again to make sure that you get paid, because it's not your fault it gets cancelled. And civil commotion, this can obviously affect shows. It's not a terrorist activity, but if roads are being blocked, venues are being targeted, then and your show can't happen, and it's no fault of your own, we can protect that through insurance for you. Obviously, he was very keen to stop the protests. Don't know where he was trying to get to, but he's doing his best to break up the blockade on his own. Good man. Right. If you're a writer and you worried about getting sued, then this is the policy for you: songwriter indemnity. Some people call it professional indemnity. Sometimes it won't be your choice to have it. It sometimes might be a contractual obligation to have. If you're selling your music to a video game or to a television company or to a advert, it's probably contractually required that you have this cover. Ed Sheeran obviously needs it. He gets sued quite regularly. It's always in the press. The Blurred Lines case against the Marvin Gaye estate, Marvin Gaye against Blurred Lines was a big case that was in the paper, and the policy that protects them is copyright infringement. Is songwriter indemnity, and it covers things like copyright infringement if you were to get sued. Again, don't worry about all these terms and details. The thing to remember is if you're selling your music and there's a contract in place and it says something about insurance or something about indemnity, let us know. We can advise. A couple more things to think about. If you're not an artist and you're running a studio or you're running a record label, then it's just important to have insurance in place. Floods, fires, anything could affect your business. We can insure against it. And lastly, cyber. This is the fastest growing area of claims. In the old days, people would break into your office or premises and steal your kit and sell it down the pub because that's what criminals did. But now they sit at home in their bedroom and they'll hack into your system. They'll steal your data. They'll steal your songs, your music, whatever it might be, and hold you to ransom. You can have your files back if you pay some crypto or coins or something. Or they'll interrupt your email exchange and take your money from you when you're trying to pay an invoice or a supplier. Cyber insurance protects you from that thing happening. So it doesn't matter whether it's a hacker, a corrupt software, a ransomware. All these incidents can be covered by an insurance policy. So it's a new type of crime, but it's also a new type of insurance that we can protect you from. There we go. That's all you need to know about insurance in 15 minutes. But the thing is, don't worry about remembering any of that. All you need to remember is there's specialists out there that can help you. I'm not around all day, but Tracey is. Tracey's at the back there. We've got a stand out there as well. We've got free pens. We've got some flyers. Come and talk to us. And if you've got any insurance needs at all, we can help. Thank you. And thank you to everyone that was online. You can hear us or see us.